Hey, when it comes to Thanksgiving dinner, it's of course turkey, right? I can't believe that she made fried chicken. As she looked at the fried chicken I had worked hard to make, my sister-in-law, Maggie, made a sarcastic comment. I had prepared the fried chicken so that her children, who are still young, could also enjoy it. You don't have kids, so you don't understand anything about kids, right? Stop pretending like you understand. You're just useless. Hurry up and go get turkey, Auntie. When she said that, something inside me snapped, and the emotions I had been holding back surged up. I can't take it anymore. And that's when my revenge story began. My name is Joanna Baker, 30 years old. I got married to Arthur after a workplace romance, and we've been married for 5 years. We don't have children yet, but we think of it as a blessing. Considering my age, I sometimes feel a bit anxious and get shaken by the comments from those around me, but I'm going to think about it seriously after I work and save money for a while. Arthur and I both think that it would be nice if we have kids someday, so we weren't desperate or anything like that. But the one who keeps bothering me about it is my sister-in-law, Maggie. She constantly makes snide remarks about the fact that my husband and I don't have children. Joanna, you better have kids soon, or you'll end up having a baby when you're old. What was the point of you getting married in your 20s? Maggie lacks any sense of tact. Thinking about Maggie makes me feel depressed, but somehow, I managed to stay positive and came to the convenience store while I was on my lunch break at work. Oh! It's unusual to see you buying so many snacks. Saying that, my coworker, who loves snacks, peeked over my shoulder. I usually buy snacks at the supermarket to have them ready for my nephews. My brother-in-law's family is coming over again this weekend, so I thought I'd get something different this time. Well, convenience stores always have new releases and a variety of tasty snacks. How old are they? They're 5, 4, and 2 years old. Really? They have 3 kids. In that case, you should buy plenty of snacks. Yeah, I should. It seemed like my response gave her a hint, and she subtly recommended a lot of reasonable-priced snacks, which were the original snacks from the store. Yes, my relationship with my husband is great, but I'm getting a little bit stressed because of my brother-in-law's family. Arthur has a brother named Elliot, who is 5 years younger than him, and Elliot and his wife, Maggie, have 3 children. Maggie started coming to visit with her 3 kids every weekend. When they came to visit, she never brought snacks, food, or drinks, so I had to prepare everything. Oh, come on, Joanna. You knew that we were coming, so you should have prepared in advance. Sorry? My kids will starve to death if you don't prepare. Starve to death. Just as I was about to suggest that she should bring something herself, she said mockingly, "Oh, I see. You didn't know that small kids can't eat this kind of snack, since you don't have kids yet." After Maggie made such sarcastic remarks, I started asking colleagues with kids what kind of snacks children like, and researched online. Now, even though we don't have kids, I've managed to stock up on children's snacks. However, the real challenge starts here. While my nephews and nieces are adorable, they tend to walk around while eating, getting their sticky hands all over the place. I had to replace the carpet with a cheaper one, and cleaning up after the kids left was quite a chore. Yet, even after witnessing all this, Maggie never offered to help me. Basically, Maggie does nothing when she comes to our house. She lets the children run wild while she sits down on the couch, watching movies on her phone. There was even a time when she left the kids at our place and went out. At first, I thought she might be having a hard time with taking care of her children, and I was willing to help for a while, but her weekly visits became annoying, and dealing with the 2-year-old crying for his mother was quite a challenge. I tried telling her once to stop leaving them for an extended period of time, because I can't take the responsibility, but she responded, "Joanna, it's good practice for you. It's like a rehearsal for when you have kids, you know? If you are complaining when you just look after the kids once a week, then you won't be able to raise your own kids. I'm saying, it's unfair to your child who is crying." I couldn't help but argue back at her dismissive attitude, but she replied as if I was useless. "Don't you get that? It's your fault that my children cry? You have to take care of them in the way they don't cry." Perhaps she thought that I had finally accepted it, since I stopped complaining, and her attitude only worsened after that. "Joanna, since you and your husband both work, and you don't have kids, you get to live in such a nice house. Whenever I want to do something, I have to think about where to leave the children first, so it is a bit challenging, especially because we have 3 kids, haha. Seriously, I envy you guys. You have both time and money, all for yourselves." While complaining about not having money, Maggie never tried getting a job. She had the audacity to bring her children's toys into the room that we had kept empty for when we have kids in the future, saying it would be a waste to leave it unused. It's a hassle to bring them every time. By the way, our place is small, so we can't have it in our home, but don't you think that it would be nice to have indoor jungle gyms or something? I might ask for one for their next birthday. I've grown tired of this situation, and I wanted to change it. So, I talked to Arthur about how challenging it is to take care of their kids, but I didn't get the response I was hoping for. "I like it because it's nice and lively. The sound of children's laughter? It's cute, isn't it? You don't dislike children, do you?" He responded as if he couldn't understand what the issue was, rather than giving me the answer I was expecting. It felt like he was implying that maybe I disliked the children and I was at fault. It wasn't surprising, though. When Maggie and her kids came over, after playing with the children for a short while, Arthur would often say something like, "It's more fun just with you 2 ladies." I'll excuse myself, and would go back to his room, or go out. I even told him that Maggie would go out sometimes, leaving the kids with me, but he said, "She's looking after them alone every day, so could you help a bit?" Then he added, "Besides, it's good practice for when we have our own kids, right?" When he said the last part, I was taken aback, and I couldn't say anything more. They said the same thing. Arthur, concerned about my gloomy mood, took me to a nice restaurant to cheer me up, but I was frustrated. Thinking, no, you are not getting it. While I was spending such days, I received a phone call from my mother-in-law about Thanksgiving. Every year, we gather at my in-laws' place for Thanksgiving and New Year's. We, the children and Baker family, are supposed to prepare the dishes for Thanksgiving, but this call was to coordinate the plans. "It's been a long time. How have you been?" "Oh, I've been fine." "What's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" "I'm okay. I'm fine." "It's about Thanksgiving, right?" "We'll do it, similar to last year." "Is that so? Are you really okay? If you are busy with work, don't push yourself too hard. We are taking you up on your kind offer, because you guys proposed this, but we have more free time than you young people do." Yes, this rule was initially established when we got married. Last year, I prepared the food, and my brother-in-law's family took care of drinks and dessert. When the whole family gathers, the food cost can add up. We decided that we, the children, would take responsibility for Thanksgiving meal to ease the burden on my parents-in-law. We'll think of something that both adults and children can enjoy. Please look forward to it. I thought, I must not cause any trouble or say anything strange, and replied in a cheerful voice. "Are you sure? Speaking of the kids, I heard from the grandkids. But Maggie and the kids have been visiting you often. Thank you for having them. Sometimes you try too hard, so please don't hesitate to tell me if you need help. Thank you. Well, I have to go now. Saying that, I hung up the phone. I didn't want to hear any more about Maggie and her family. I tried to avoid thinking about Maggie as much as possible, but one day, I received a sudden call from her. I'm sorry, Joanna. Can I ask you to handle everything for Thanksgiving this year? Our youngest is still not fully potty trained, and the cost for the diapers is no joke. With that, I was responsible for preparing all the food, drinks, and snacks for Thanksgiving this time. I made up my mind. I will prepare everything so perfectly and surprise her. I thought about what kind of dishes would be suitable, something the children could eat, enjoyable for the adults, and also something to go well with drinks. In the end, I decided to prepare some French fries that 2- and 4-year-old kids can eat, and fried chicken as a main dish, which can be enjoyed by adults and the 5-year-old as well. Kids usually like fried chicken, and it's easy to eat. It wouldn't take much time to prepare, so it was a win-win. However, just in case, I prepared not only fried chicken, but also other food like ribs, avocado dip, pasta, and more. I spent the evening preparing, and I woke up early to finish it off. Good morning. Oh, you're up already? Yeah. He must have sensed that something was off when he saw me continue my preparations. Hey, are you okay? I can't quite put it into words, but I'm fine. Am I okay with what? With that thought in my mind, I might have answered somewhat aggressively. Well, if you say so. Thank you for cooking. Oh, this looks delicious. As he peered into the dishes we are taking to the gathering, he commented, and quickly started eating the breakfast that I had prepared while watching TV. I couldn't help but feel a sense of loneliness as I saw Arthur eat slowly while watching TV, pretending not to notice the bad atmosphere, even though he did. Once I finished the preparation, we got ready and headed to my in-laws' house. Upon our arrival, my in-laws warmly welcomed us. We're here. Oh dear, this must have been quite a task with all this food. I can't wait to eat it. Looking at the bags of food we brought, my mother-in-law said. I had already prepared the meal, so I get to talk and spend time with my mother-in-law. Maybe these unsettling feelings will disappear if I have fun talking to her. I had that expectation. However, just as I was thinking that, the front door, which I just closed, swung open. I'm home. Oh, I meant we are here. Hi, Mom, it's been a while. My brother-in-law's family has arrived. With a sense of unease, I went into the living room, and the men were starting their conversation at the large table. Maggie had taken a seat in front of the TV, which was a blind spot from the big table, and the kids began running and playing. My mother-in-law went to the kitchen with the dishes I had brought and started preparing drinks. I offered her help, but she insisted that I sat down since I had brought the food. There was no way that Maggie would watch the children, so I had to take care of the 3 of them. Maggie was busy with her phone, even wearing earphones. Initially, she was sitting down, but she gradually relaxed and eventually lay down. Are the kids okay over there? Said Elliot, who was concerned about us. Maggie replied, they're fine. I'm having a nice chat with Joanna here, so you just have fun talking with Arthur. I couldn't help but glance at Maggie, who was just lazing around, without looking after the children, and perhaps I looked like I was glaring at her. Wow, your face looks really scary. You better stop making the facial expression like that, because you look even more miserable when you have a plain face to begin with. By the way, you have nothing to do right now? Oh, Joanna, perfect timing. Can you get me some drink? How can she ask me that when I'm taking care of her kids? I ignored her, and though I thought it was a bit early for the mealtime, I decided to prepare the dinner, thinking I already played with the kids for 30 minutes and I've done enough. My mother-in-law seemed to be taking a break, enjoying chatting with her sons, so I got her consent to use the kitchen, and went there alone. Then, Maggie came and said, "I'm sorry to have asked you to do everything this time, Joanna. I'm so grateful. Oh, I'm so hungry. Should I try tasting the food you made?" She immediately opened the fridge and started checking the dishes I had brought. "Wait, tasting like this isn't a good idea." I scolded Maggie, and as I started to prepare the fried chicken, she seemed surprised and began to complain. "Hey, what's this?" "What do you mean?" "I'm making fried chicken." "What? Fried chicken?" "Yeah. Kids can eat it, so why not?" "Are you serious? It's Thanksgiving, you know. When you say Thanksgiving, we have to have turkey, just like Christmas." When my parents-in-law prepared the meal, they often served turkey, along with other my mother-in-law's special dishes. Fried chicken. This is just plain lazy. I was really looking forward to it. You're a useless woman. I should have told you more clearly. She said that while placing her hand on her forehead, making fun of me. Why does she complain so much when she doesn't do anything? Well, even so. If it were just turkey, the kids wouldn't enjoy it. I argued, which was unusual for me, and she continued with her sarcasm. Don't be stingy when you have money. You don't understand anything about the kids. You should have prepared turkey separately for the adults. You're truly useless. When she said that much, I reached my breaking point, and something I had been holding back surged up within me. I began to put away the chicken and other food I had worked hard to prepare roughly. What are you doing? Are you going crazy? My actions must have looked bizarre, and as Maggie asked me that, my mother-in-law entered the kitchen. Joanna, let me help you. My gaze met with my mother-in-law's as she said that. I'm going home. I'm sorry for leaving. What's wrong? Why are you leaving? My mother-in-law seemed to sense something was amiss, but she looked puzzled. It seems Maggie doesn't like it. She wants turkey. She probably doesn't want the food I had prepared, so I'll take it all back. It seemed that Arthur had heard it, perhaps because I raised my voice, and he approached, concerned. What? What's going on? In response to Arthur's question, I found myself expressing my feelings. What's going on? She wants turkey, instead of the food I've diligently prepared since yesterday. I've been trying so hard. She leaves her kids with us almost every week, brings a ton of toys into the special room we are saving for our children, and lets them run wild in the house. I unleashed my feelings, fighting back tears, and everything went silent. I didn't want to show them my crying face. With that thought, as I began to leave the room, it was my mother-in-law who first spoke. Maggie didn't like the food Joanna prepared? Didn't you prepare it together? I even gave you the money to help with the cost last week, so you can use with Joanna, right? My mother-in-law, who has such a gentle face always, glared at Maggie. Maggie flinched, and her face turned pale. I've paid for all the food because Maggie said she has to spend a lot of money on diapers. That's, Maggie must have thought that she needed to say something, but she seemed at a loss for words. In the silence, the children's voices could be heard. It seemed they had discovered the snacks I had brought for them. Wow, snacks! Joanna always gives us delicious ones. Huh? Always? Wait! As I heard Elliot say that, the children came into the kitchen. Thank you for giving us yummy snacks always, Auntie Joanna. Has Joanna always been giving you snack? When they were asked, the children replied cheerfully. Yeah. And returned to the living room, where their grandfather was They come over to our place every week, so I've learned their preferences. If I buy strange things, Maggie complains. Despite not having children of my own, I've become an expert on children's snacks. I explained, and Elliot seemed surprised. Did you always go to Joanna's place? Weren't you saying you were going to a friend's place? They come over in the morning, have lunch, eat snacks, and sometimes even stay for dinner. I didn't know any of that, bro. Why didn't you tell me? I didn't know they were causing so much trouble. Arthur didn't know that, because he stayed in his room where he can hear kids' laughter, which he liked, or he was out. He even said that it was good practice for when we have our own children. Well, I won't come over for Thanksgiving or New Year's anymore. Even if I do, I'll come when Maggie and her kids are not here. I'm tired of being used by Maggie. I'm sorry, Joanna. Explain to me, Maggie. Have you been lying? She said they'd prepare together, so I gave her money. It was all lies. Because she was being accused by them, probably she wanted to make excuses. I was going to give it to Joanna, but, we needed it. After all, we have 3 children. We're a family, so I thought it's okay to get help. She said it haltingly. However, no one was buying it. Elliot also seemed astounded by Maggie, who said this in a slightly joking manner. You've been lying and embezzling money. You're like a criminal. What other lies have you told? You'll tell us everything. When he said that, Maggie was on the verge of crying and explained the reasons why she had harassed me. It's because Joanna got along so well with my mother-in-law, as if they were real mother and daughter, and everyone only praised Joanna all the time, even though I got married first, had children, and I was trying so hard on my own, as I couldn't rely on Elliot since he was busy. I got fed up with it. Hearing this, Elliot said firmly, I think it's my fault for leaving everything to you just because I was busy with work, but do you realize how much Joanna was hurt because of your selfish jealousy? Let's go home for today. First, you have to tell me everything honestly, and then apologize. When Elliot, who was usually calm, said this angrily, Maggie uttered, I'm sorry. Elliot then said that they would come back to apologize properly again, and left the house, taking Maggie and the children with him. I thought highly of both Joanna and Maggie, and I thought that I did show my appreciation, but my mother-in-law said sadly. Then, she said to break the awkward atmosphere, well, it's a shame to waste the food. Let's eat. She went to prepare the food, as if we make a fresh start. She then slapped Arthur's back, saying, a husband who doesn't listen to his wife's words is useless. Try harder. Arthur looked at me with a serious face and said, I'm really sorry. I'll make sure this won't happen again. With that, he put his hand on my shoulder. It was a lovely scene, but probably because I raised my voice, which is something I rarely do, and I had also been on my feet since morning. My stomach made a loud noise, and we couldn't help but burst into laughter, and our smiles returned. A few days later, Elliot asked Maggie for a divorce. Though Elliot felt responsible for being too busy with work and leaving everything to Maggie, it turned out that she had been spending her time gambling and spending so much money on a guy at a boys' bar, while I was looking after her kids. She had debts that she never told Elliot, and as more lies and misdeeds surfaced, it seemed he realized that he couldn't stay married anymore. Maggie resisted divorce, saying that she was just jealous of me at first, since I got along so well with my mother-in-law and I was working full-time, but she now regrets that. However, once all of her misdeeds came to light, she gave in and accepted the divorce. Elliot was granted custody of the 3 children. Maggie reflected on her actions after her children were taken away from her, took on part-time jobs, and is now living in a cheap apartment. She can see her children, if they wished. It's unfortunate that This incident had some impact on the children, but I couldn't have any sympathy because it was. As you make your bed, so you must lie upon it. Elliot now lives with my in-laws, and they are taking care of the children. I understand that handling those active kids can be quite a task, so whenever I have time, I visit my in-laws' place and play with the kids. Take it easy, don't push yourself too hard. I'm okay. I can't trust your I'm okay. Oh, why don't you take some home? It's a side dish. Auntie, am I going to become a big sister? Elliot's youngest child asked, looking at my big belly. Right now, I'm pregnant. Yeah, when the baby is born, we can all play together. Yes. Family should care, support, and also respect each other. Through this experience, I've learned that it's important to trust others, discuss problems openly, and lean on each other during both difficult and joyful times.